Hi, everybody. I welcome to the latest edition of Pop Culture Squad Cast Live Interview Edition. I'm going to be bringing in Vito Delsante in just about a second, and we're going to be talking about his latest Kickstarter for the comic Stray. And I'm not going to waste any time. We're going to bring in Vito. Hey,
Hi.
Vito. How
Hello.
are you?
Oh, I'm okay. Did I just blow out all the speakers?
No. You sound great to me.
Okay.
My headphones are working good. So let's definitely talk about some stuff here. 1 second here. I want to bring in some stuff to our screens. Chrome tabs. All right, and this is what we're talking about. We are talking about Stray Volume 3 Requiem Issue 1.
Yep.
So we've had you on the program before, and we are huge fans of Stray as a character.
Thank you.
For people who are new and who want to back this project, who is Stray?
Oh, Stray is Rodney Weller, who is the former sidekick to the Doberman, who is ostensibly the greatest detective in the world, in the universe, maybe. And he was the sidekick called the Rottweiler. During a altercation, they had a falling out, and Rodney ran away from home and decided to kind of quit being a sidekick. Fast forward 5 years, his father, the Doberman, is killed. He comes back to not only solve the murder of the Doberman, but also kind of figure out what kind of man he wants to be. Does he want to take his father's mantle? Does he want to be the Rottweiler again? Or does he want to do something different? Which is kind of like a play on the word stray. So you kind of get the idea that he's going to go a different way.
Great. I mean, it's definitely has some themes that are near and dear to my heart. And I immediately became a huge fan of this character when I read the first volume, Who Killed the Doberman, or I think that's what it's called.
Yep.
I probably have it wrong, but the way that you and co-creator Sean Isaacs brought those very similar themes that are familiar to comic book readers who grew up in the 80s, and used different types of themes, different emotions, pushed different ways, really built and fleshed out a fantastic character and universe. I'm going to need that other file that we talked about earlier. We'll get to that later.
Oh, okay.
I've got to figure out how to do that. So we've got there after the first volume. There was more in the Action Labs that Action Labs published with the second volume that expanded out towards other characters as well. But now it's been 6 years now, right? Is it 6 since the initial?
Since we started?
Did you start?
2013 was the first Kickstarter. So yeah.
Wow.
But a little bit longer than that, I think.
Yeah.
We didn't start publishing until 2014, though.
Okay.
Like, I know that it was like 8 years. Oddly enough, I don't know why I chose October, but apparently I always choose October. So it was 8 years ago that I ran the first Kickstarter, and I think we started publishing in 2014. So yeah, about 7 years since the first one came out.
So, what is what are we going to get from this? How is this new Kickstarter going to work? What are we looking to accomplish with this first one, and this new volume? What do we see from Stray?
Oh, I don't know. I'm kidding. There's a little bit of truth in that answer, though, because it's hard to really break it down into fractions, in a sense. what we're I have always been I've always felt guilty about having people who enjoy the book back the book on Kickstarter and then also buy the book when it comes out in stores. Like, I felt like I was pandering a little too much. Maybe not pandering, but as a former comic book retailer, I've always wanted to be fair to the retailers. I've always wanted to be cognizant of the fact that they don't all follow Kickstarter. They don't all really Kickstarter books, unless they're done by like a Gail Simone or a Scott Snyder or something. They don't really fall on their radar. So with that, and then with also trying not to also take too much money from the people that quite possibly make Stray exist, like if not for our backers from the first Kickstarter to now, I don't think Stray exists at all without them. So we never want to take advantage of that. That's a good faith kind of relationship that we have with those people. So I thought, and I brought it up to Action Lab, and they were kind of okay with it. I say kind of okay, they were fine. But my idea was this: I want to do the Kickstarter as individual issues, but keep them only on Kickstarter, because I think that's where the fan base really comes from. Then what I wanted to do was let Action Lab put the trade paperback out when it's all done, because in that respect, the retailers have something that has a longer shelf life, a higher price point, and probably will be able to be reordered a lot more than individual issues. One of the tricks of the trade with comic book retailing is retailers typically under order issue 2 and issue 3, because by the time issue 4 is being solicited in previews, issue 1 is just coming out into stores. So they have no idea what they're ordering if there is an audience for what they previously ordered until issue 4. So by kind of letting them just order the book, I feel like we're giving them a little bit of an edge in being able to being able to sell the book. Then on top of that, we're doing 7 issues, so hopefully one every 2-3 months. I know that I put
so
June,
7. That's a nice chunk of story.
It's a big story. I didn't want to shorten it at all, and I didn't want to. I wanted to give, like I said, I wanted to make the story substantial. The funny part about it is we're doing 7 issues on Kickstarter, but for the trade, we're actually going to have an 8th issue that you can only get in the trade. And that way, again, like I want the retailers to feel like Stray and me and Action Lab, like that we're not excluding them from enjoying or being a part of the experience of Stray. I want them to be, I want them to know that they can, we have retailer rewards on the Kickstarter, but more importantly, if they're uncomfortable with Kickstarter, if they're more comfortable doing things through Diamond with the order codes and the retailer discounts, that's fine, but they're going to have to, wait until the trade. And if they're going to wait, let them wait for something that they can sell, because now with a secret issue, like it's like having like a secret track on the end of a CD or something like that. With an issue that is only exclusive to the trade, they can now maybe feel comfortable in saying, yeah, this is what you got on Kickstarter, but there's something you haven't read yet. So this is going to be something that you'll want to pick up, whether you're a backer or a casual reader. So it was just an idea that I hope works, because I would love to keep doing it like this, where we're doing Kickstarter issues and then doing trades, for the book market.
No, it's great. I'm going to bring this back in. So here's the rewards that are there, and for if you're a digital guy, it's you're just getting a digital comic, and it's great there. But like the for the digital and the physical copy of issue 1, for people who want to get behind this book, which is absolutely amazing, and I haven't even seen it yet, but I know it is because I've seen where the character goes, and we're going to get into some of the stuff that has been prepared. But then there's so many cool cover options that people can get into, and like that's where people get very excited. Like there's some amazing covers. Let's like for example, I'm going to take this one out, and I'm going to put in this. And I'm going to share, stop screen, add another one. I'm trying to get fast at this.
That's
How about this? How about this? How about Scott McDaniel, Stray?
Scott McDaniel,
it's perfect.
Also homaging Scott McDaniel. That is actually
that is the best part of it.
Yeah,
Scott
it's
McDaniel
an homage to Nightwing
Scott
number 2,
McDaniel.
I think. Yeah,
I think.
Scott is like I live in the Pittsburgh area. Scott is relatively local. We've come across each other a lot at conventions, and I legitimately adore Scott and his family. Like his mom had a bout with cancer, and like we as a community kind of like supported Scott and Doris. So getting Scott to do this was a huge get. And every time I look at that, I question whether or not I will ever sell it or ever put it up in a frame, or just keep it in the envelope with Scott's little note to me just forever. As a fan of his, that is just wonderful. I can't express how excited I am about that. And I think that's like a $10 tier too. I don't think that's a very expensive tier.
That's the straight cover, right? Isn't it?
No, the main cover will be the Sean Isaacs cover. Yeah, right. And so again,
but you can get it with the 15,
right?
15 here,
right?
Yep, that's great. That's fantastic. Some great, and then there's a T-shirt option for. Is that an add-on as well?
Yep, I think so. It might not be. I'll put it up as an add-on. But yeah, it's there's T-shirts. It's
absolutely great. So what? And I'm gonna go up here. Excuse my scrolling, everyone. But but we're gonna get to this stuff in a minute. But so here's where we're talking about. Mm-hmm. What is the Requiem story gonna tell?
Well, if anyone has read Stray from the very beginning, like you have, there in the first issue there was a mention of a gentleman by the name of the Dread King. He was basically like this kind of underworld figure that no one really had a name or a face to. That's just kind of like a urban legend, so to speak. But this was an urban legend that was responsible for the drug G-Smack getting out there, and that person, Dread King, Black Death, whatever you wanted to call him, his name is actually Requiem. And so that's only because I came up with a better name after I did the first volume. But we're going to find out who that guy is, what his connection to Stray is, and also, the idea that can we possibly tie up that loose end from the first volume, which is Rodney used to sell drugs.
Yeah,
Rodney was not a good guy for the 5 years that he stopped being a sidekick.
Well, so that was the piece that when you created the character, when we were talking about when in the very first issue and where he came from, it was, I mean, it's an homage to Dick Grayson. Let's if we haven't said that clearly enough, it's there. Yeah. You can feel it. But it's funny because it's almost a little more Titans like the DC, like the
The TV
HBO
show, yeah.
Max type t-shirt. That's more like I feel that version of Dick Grayson is closer to Rodney, even though he's a cop, but like that same
Right.
type of rebellious thing. And it was such a great space because you could see it. It's almost like there's a combination of kind of Jason's attitude in there as well, but it's definitely there. As much as Rodney wanted to rebel, there is um, that parental responsible person that is that his character at the core of his character. As much as he wants to get away from it, he will come back to it, and
Right.
you kind of felt that from the very beginning.
Well, at the very least, you hope that would be the case. Like
Yeah.
there's
I want to pause.
the
I want to pause 1 second here because
Mhm.
apparently Dean has more questions for Whitney, and she wants to know if you want seltzer too. So thank you, Dean and Whitney, for watching. We appreciate it, and Sherry's watching too. I'm just passing along drink orders, and now we'll get back to
I
the.
mean, if they're hitting the bodega, I've got a couple of things.
I think the next time you go to New York, I need to go up there, and we all need to go to Woolhop.
Oh yeah. Woolhop is the place for comics and cartoonists.
So that sounds great where we are with what's coming out with this volume 3.
And there's
excited
a couple of other things too that that are I'm no Paul Levitz, but there are a lot of other little subplots that if you followed it from the very beginning and you bought Actionverse and you bought the Rottweiler years, which looked at which was technically volume 2, which kind of looked back at how the teenagers started and how it kind of led to this big kind of kerfuffle in the middle of New York City. Like there's a little throwaway line in the 6th issue of the Rottweiler years trade where you find out that there's some kind of after the riot went down, someone tore down a bunch of housing projects. So there are a lot of displaced people in New York. So who's got the authority to do that? And there's a throwaway line that the president could do it. And it's not too far away from the truth. So you have to read to see where that's going and what was being built underground in the new volume. So again, I'm a very big fan of putting seeds into my stories for later growth, for later harvesting, I guess, because I think it rewards a long time reader to get this stuff, but then it also maybe intrigues a new reader to check it out for the first time.
That's awesome.
When it works, it is.
Yeah. The world building that you did and the character designs of a world that is to me very very familiar, but changed in perceptibly unique and pleasing ways. And I don't mean because it's soft and pleasy. It's intriguing. It brings me forward. Like the friendships that he had, and the friendships and the relationships that he had, that especially in that first volume, where it was just there. We just it had already happened, and the way that it was presented, I mean, just really solidified my admiration in your writing style. Just the way that you were able to put that forward. And I don't mean to do all of that, but
it's it's all by design. I think we've talked about this on the last time we spoke on here. Thank you from the bottom of my Purple Heart, Whitney. Shucks. But yeah, it's all kind of done by design, in that we as creators know that it's really tough to get people to read any kind of superhero book that's not Marvel, DC, maybe Image, maybe Dark Horse. It's hard to get anyone new to read, something of any kind of value or any kind of quality, I should say, that's not with a Marvel M or a DC bullet on it. So what we decided to do was let's lean into a lot of these influences. Let's lean into the idea that a lot of us, when we're creating these independent comic books, we do tend to look at DC, Marvel, uh, any of the things, even like Chaykin's American Flag, and even stuff that's like Grendel, anything that came out in the 80s that were like the black and white kind of off center superhero stuff. I think we all grab those influences, and that's what kind of informs our work. So why not lean into that? Why not just say, okay, well, yeah, this is my Batman, this is my Robin, and then what happens is it's kind of like chemistry. The reader reads these things and they just automatically fill in blanks and history for these characters, and all the heavy lifting is done. Like, even if you don't explicitly say that such and such is from another planet and he's got superpowers on this world, you can see that the Titan is ostensibly Superman. So if you lean into that, it takes the kind of homework out of it for readers. And they just,
Sure.
and again, they just jump right in and they're like, okay, I know this, like you were saying, I know this world, I know how this world works, then we twist it a little bit. So you have the sidekick that's, not a sidekick anymore. And he's, a club promoter that is happy to give away drugs at his parties that he's planning. So why did he fall so far from where he was before?
And that concept you're talking about, where we kind of already know, we can fill in the blanks. I think that's what, and I don't mean to take away from, but I think that's what attracted me to Invincible, because it's the same kind of concept, right?
Right.
You know what this character is. You already know that it's a Superman character, so he's going to have some sort of limitation, or at some point, you know that this is a Wonder Woman character, or this is a Speed character. So where are the limitations? We've already done that work, right? And then you have a group of young heroes. So we're Titans, or we're young X-Men, or New Mutants, or something like that. So they're all we are familiar with that concept. So a lot of that is done. So you don't have to spend your time doing that, explaining that these things that we already have, and you can just go right into dig into a deep relationship that's already there, or whatever plot point it needs to be made.
One of the things I used to tell folks, I think when we first started doing it, was these are DC characters in a Marvel universe.
Because that's a great idea. I hadn't heard that, but that's a great concept.
Marvel is a more palpable universe in terms of like background setting, the world itself. Even with stuff like Wakanda or any of the other fictional cities in the Marvel universe, it still feels real. It feels lived in. And the idea of taking Robin away from Batman and putting him in New York City, who does he become? It's not, Gotham City. It's not, Ivy University or anything like that. So friends. You have to go, honey. Okay. No. Sorry, my daughter's talking to me too. You might pick up her chatter.
Hi, Sadie.
Hi, Sadie. They said.
Hi, Bob.
She said, "Hi, Bob." But yeah, so it's a different world, when you take those characters and you put them in something that's familiar, because they are, they're fictional, and there's always been that like Kick-Ass and Hit Girl.
Sure.
Like, what would a teenager do if they had become a vigilante or something like that? And I mean, there's a kitsch to that, and a true kind of real world working it out in your head. What would happen? Oh, you'd probably almost die. But
yeah,
I feel like doing it the other way, though, like just taking the fictional character and putting into the real world and having them have to navigate that would be just as jarring, and I think that's kind of what we did.
So, let me take this out for a second so people can know what we're looking at here. So what I have here, and we have the pages for it. I want to go through them.
Mhm.
This is the ash can that you had at Baltimore
Mhm.
that has kind of the preview, and a lot of these are the pages that are on the Kickstarter page, correct? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm very happy to have this. Very happy to have this. You can't see it. This is
The pencils.
these are the pencils for the McDaniel cover, which are fantastic. But I want to go through these pages because they're really kind of meta. And I think you said earlier we were talking,
Mhm.
and I like the way you did it. So this page now are these actual pages that are going to be in
Yeah.
the issues
This is
or the mock-ups? I think you said one of them is a bunch of is a sketch, but like we're talking, the other part is making it. You said you're making it bigger, and is that where is Spider Squirrel going to be part of this?
not
not
no.
specifically.
No. No. What I mean is that I'm just trying to, in terms of making the world bigger, I literally mean making it so that we've only ever seen one villain for
Right.
Stray, and that was Duet, and we haven't seen him since Volume 1. Volume 2 had the alien incursion from the Intolerance, but that's not really, I mean, they're not really going to come back up until there's some kind of world threat, universe threat or something. So is there rogues gallery? Is there villains from the Dobermans rogues gallery that will show up? And that's the answer to that is yes. So we wanted to actually fill the world out, like get more of those characters that have just been sitting around, and kind of make it feel more like a superhero book. In that first panel, you have Chimera on the, like, it's, I don't know if it's the right or the left now because everything's so flipped.
Which one is
That
this one?
Chimera is the one that's throwing something, whereas Madhouse is the one with the devil mask.
Okay, so this is Madhouse over here.
Mhm.
I'm kind of clinking on it right over here. That's
Yep.
Madhouse, and then we have Chimera over here.
Right.
And so it says here that there's gonna be at least 5 supervillains in these 7-ish issues.
No, there's 5 just in issue 1.
In issue 1.
So there's 2 right there.
This is big time.
Mhm.
I am we chock full of superhero-ness.
Yes, and I mean, I have like little, like the whole Spider Squirrel thing where I said there's a cameo. The funny thing about that is there are little nods to other characters, even if they don't appear in the book itself. There are nods to other characters that you'll see throughout the series.
Sure.
And that's kind of what.
Now you've told me about this page the last time we talked. I remember when I saw this, I'm like, oh, this is that page we talked about, because you weren't there yet.
Yeah, I think I was still writing it at the time that we talked last.
But you did tell me about this, and you told me about and we haven't talked. I'm sorry. Let's talk about the artist.
Okay.
Because Sean is not going to be doing the pencils on this book.
No, unfortunately, Sean is still working on. He's currently working on Fantastic Four Life Story, which I think is up to issue 5.
And something I think he had something else was announced recently too, but
I forget what it is. But yeah,
I don't remember what it was.
He's deep in his Marvel exclusive,
which is great, fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. But he's doing that work, but he's still going to be doing our covers, and he's still a part of the team. You know what I mean? He's still a part of. His name is still on the cover, so. And in fact, like, we're not putting our last names above the logo. So yeah, he's still a part of it. But
and
Marcello
so who is doing the art?
Marcello Mueller, who he's worked on a couple of different things, I think, for Zenoscope, and a couple of indie books as well, like American Dreams. Daniel Calvin has him working on a book that's like aliens versus greasers in the 50s. So it's kind of, he's still kind of new to audiences, and I hope this leads to him getting an exclusive at Marvel or something like that.
Right.
Because he takes a lot of my ideas and he really runs with them. So.
Yeah, I mean, this page. This was 4 page long panels that. I mean, this is incredible.
Yeah, it's one of the things I wrote is that I personally did the layout for this page. You know, like I actually drew it and everything like that. And the thing is, like, I always want to be a part of the process, you know, like, which is why I letter all my stuff. But the reality is, with this, I had this vision of Will Eisner and this idea of moving the eye forward and showing a lot in just these static images and stuff. And I don't know, like it totally worked, I guess.
It did. It totally worked. I mean, it's Spider-Man-esque in a way. You know, with the grand scope of things and the movement,
you
know, being portrayed, it really caught my eye. And I know, like I said, we had talked about it, I guess it was a year ago now. We're close to that. And I'm loving it.
Yeah, you know what's funny is the same issue that's from issue 1, the 4 vertical panels. The same issue has I think a 5, maybe 6 page car chase. So like I'm a big proponent of, in terms of like writing philosophy, if it's an action book, you have to have action. And if it's a superhero book, you have to have superhero action. You know, so things like, you know, swinging across a city with helicopters coming, and you kind of have to do that stuff. One fight scene, sure. 2 fight scenes in a book, why not? You know, like I just think that you have to be true to the medium and to the way that comics are, like the way superhero comics are supposed to be. So
I completely agree. And so this page you included because you really felt good about the way that the dialogue came out.
Yeah.
And I agree. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was just very to you know, adversaries and the grit and held back emotion really played out well.
I think, you know, the idea when I originally wrote, this is from issue 2 actually, so that's a little inside information for you. But this is from issue 2. The idea that Warhorse, who is the Nick Fury of this world, he and the Doberman had a relationship. One of the things in the Rottweiler years I mentioned was that Warhorse tells Stray, "You did a good job, but you're not the detective that your dad was." And it's something that will, you know, it's kind of like a deep burn on him, but
he holds it.
He holds it, and they both just resent each other because one doesn't want to be restricted by whatever rules and regulations are supposed to be, and the other one wants this kid on his side, but at what cost? You know, like, so the idea that he's trying to force Stray to do things. This scene was much longer in the original draft. It was maybe about 3 or 4 pages, and I think I cut it down to 2 because I wanted to get to what the next sequence is, which is like a double page action shot. So yeah, but in terms of like the dialogue, you know, we're always trying to get better at something when it comes to writing, you know, and I've always been very good at dialogue. I think I've leveled up a little bit in this one, you know, because it's starting to feel a little more naturally. I don't know. I mean, I'll let you guys be the judge of it, but yeah.
No, I think that I think it definitely works. I really like that page a lot.
The other thing I like is in the very first panel, I have this like very curvy tail from
I don't know
spoiler alert. No, just kidding. But yeah, there's a very cool tail in the very first panel for Warhorse. That's
this
like,
one,
the curvy thing. Oh, I love it. Sometimes like if you knew how much I slave over lettering,
I believe
how
Absolutely.
much, but also how much I love it. When it works, it's just so like gratifying.
I mean, anybody who pays attention to anything I say will know how much of a lettering nerd I am. And I'm thrilled with the lettering in this book. You do a great job.
Thank you. My conscience will not go to sleep tonight unless I mention Dave Sharp, who taught me how to letter through Comics Experience. So I must give it up to Dave Sharp.
I'm trying to get this into this. I want to get this one over here. Okay. Now this is where we are, right? So this is the next page, right? This is a double page. This is 4 and 5.
This is
so what's going on here?
This is from issue 2 as well. You, funny enough, had mentioned Jason Todd a few minutes ago. What if Jason Todd was better than Dick Grayson at being Robin? And that's what you're looking at. This is Argos. Argos is the kind of I wouldn't call him the hitman, although he's really taken some hits. But he's better than Stray at being Stray. He just happens to work for Pax Mundi, so that puts him at odds with Stray. They're not literally brothers. They could be, and you'll find out their relationship within the book, like how they know each other, if they know each other. But the important thing is that Argos doesn't have any semblance of power. Stray has a kind of empathic projection where he can, if he feels confident, he can make you feel confident. It's like how dogs work with service dogs, service animals working with people that have different issues, whether it be mental illness, cancer, autism. Like dogs inspire like certain feelings in people, and I don't know if that's through training or if that's just an inherent being man's best friend. But like if Stray's angry, you start to kind of fear him. If he's confident, you start to be comfortable around him. If he's getting his butt whipped like he is right now, it really doesn't matter, because he's probably just going to get thrown out of a window like he does in the last panel. Right. But Argos doesn't have the benefit of that. He doesn't even, like, Stray also has a healing ability where he can recover from just about any wound over time. Sometimes if the wound is severe, he will fall into like a metabolic stasis where he will literally pass out and then heal quicker as a result of it, but he'll be incapacitated. Here, again, Argos doesn't have that. Argos is a normal person. Like, he's not a metahuman, he's not a superhuman, he's not anything other than a regular guy with body armor. And he's
a lot of it.
And he's better than Stray.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if I like that.
There's a lot of plans for Argos coming down the line, and I think when we get to those plans coming, I think you're going to really enjoy the development of that character. You specifically. This
is Marcello, though, right?
What's that?
This is Marcello's art, right?
Yes, Marcello.
It is gorgeous. This is a hell of a fight scene. I mean, this is just...
I don't write fight scenes anymore because I've gotten to the point where I trust my artist, and I will give them what I call landmarks for the page. Like, for example, I gave him the number of panel count. I gave him that's the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I told him, like, between 10 and 12, maybe 10 and 15, just make it feel like it's work, like that we're working this guy over.
Yeah, there's effort, and he doesn't just get thrown out the window.
Right. Which you could do in one panel, but at the same time, you want to see why this guy is better than Stray. So
like, that's the point of the storytelling. This is what makes comics the visual medium that it is. Right?
Exactly.
Right? So
absolutely.
That this story, right, this page that we're looking at here could be done in 2 splash page, one a punch and then another one out the window, and you get the same concept. But what you do here, when you do this and you lay it out in 12 panels and you get the close in shots and the struggling and the pulling, and you get that there's struggle, there's effort, it's not one and done. It just adds so much to it.
And this is another, when I do these double page splashes, especially for fight scenes. I don't dialogue them either. I don't put the sound effects until I actually do the lettering. And the dialogue here just kind of the crime fighting 101 is basically my flash facts. Like it's something that goes back to the Doberman in the first series. Like it's always something that was a lesson that his father taught him. So crime fighting 101, sometimes you have to lose a fight to win it, and then sometimes you just lose the fight. And it's like the impact of him going through the window and realizing that he just lost the fight. I feel like, again, like I feel like I nailed it with the dialogue there. And again, you can ask anybody that I've worked with. Dean is checking us out on YouTube, I believe. I don't feel very confident about my writing very often. Like I don't praise myself. Dean is being very, very kind. But again, like when it hits, it hits. And even you have to even take a step back from yourself and from your lack of ego or excess of ego even, and just say, when it works, it works. And this is something that I really, really care about. And I nailed it.
We're talking about this, what we're looking at right now, right?
I was talking about the last page, but this page.
No, the last, yeah, no, okay. So yes, absolutely. Now let's talk about this because I am intrigued.
Okay. So this page, I want to say it was probably 2011 or 2012. One of my really good friends is Eric White, who did a book called Frankie Pickle for I think Scholastic, but it's a wonderful book. He's also worked backgrounds at WB Animation. He's very much in the Darwin school, where Darwin I think actually taught him a couple of things in animation when Darwin was over there working on Batman Beyond. So Eric and I became really good friends, and we were sitting in the cafeteria at New York Comic Con, and I had been kind of frustrated at that point because I had pitched a Blue Falcon Dynomutt story to DC even back then. And they turned it down because they said, well, it's a really weird thing where we had, and maybe it was just giving me an overcomplicated excuse to kind of silence me about it. Because there are, I'm sure, other things at play. But what I was told at the time was that to do a Blue Falcon Dynomutt story, DC would have to pay Cartoon Network a licensing fee, even though they're both owned by the same parent company. So they couldn't, in 2011, do it.
Yeah, I'm sure that has changed considering.
Well, there was a Blue Falcon thing not too long ago with the Super Sons, I think.
I think so.
Which was fantastic.
When they did all the, I mean, I really enjoyed I enjoyed the storytelling that people took advantage of with that whole, Hanna-Barbera, Warner Brothers crossover.
Tom King and Lee Weeks. Fantastic.
Well, yeah. I mean, that was fantastic. There are other good ones too. I mean, like that one is will remain legendary. But like, there were some other good ones. I thought the Green Lantern one was pretty good. There was a Green Lantern with Huckleberry Hound that was not bad. I know Sherry liked the Catwoman and Tweety Bird one.
I didn't see that one. So going back to the page, and the story behind it. So I wanted to write Dynomutt with a very specific origin, with a very almost like it makes sense to do it like the way I wanted to do it. And Eric, in his infinite wisdom, said, just make your own Dynomutt. And it literally, I started working towards that. There were two things that actually came before Stray, before the Rottweiler, before that character took shape. One of them is Sam right there. And the other one is Duet, which came from me reading a Jay Faerber Gemini book that Image put out. That I
remember that. I remember talking about that.
Yeah, I wish he finished doing that book, but or was doing more of that book. But like both of those things came before Stray did. So
where does Is this issue 1?
This is issue 2.
Oh man, we have got to get this Kickstarter going. We have got to get this funded so we can get to 2, and 3, and 4, and all of them.
And
we'll have a bi-monthly discussion over Stray. We can do that.
This is one of the rewards, a 3D printed Sam. So
oh my god, wait, hold on, no.
I painted this myself.
Let me.
It's me, everyone.
I'm gonna take myself out, but I want you to put that up.
Okay. This in my gigantic hands, like my cousin 3D prints.
Oh, right. You told me about that.
And he did a bunch of these. We're offering 15 of them in the Kickstarter, and I will be painting them, airbrushing and hand painting. So yeah.
All right. So before we get back to the last couple of pages here from the Ashcan, tell me about this. And I don't know if Dean's still listening, but he can probably tell. What I get confused. So what is the status of the action figure situation that you guys have been working on? Is it Amazing Heroes or
I wish I could go into the other room. I actually got the Paint Master last week for the Stray figure. I'll try to get it before the end of the
But do they exist?
They exist. They are scheduled for December, January, but as you know, I hate throwing in like an excuse or anything like that, but the supply chain shortages
you don't have
are extremely real. And that's one of the reasons.
They are really real. I mean, and so there's nothing to explain about this. So, but are they still available for purchase, or were there only a limited amount made?
I believe you can still order them on Big Bad Toy Store. They're a little more expensive on there because of I think the shipping and everything. But I think once they arrive, there will be some extra through Fresh Monkey Fiction's web store.
Okay.
But yeah, they're real.
Okay. And there's a red hook too, right?
No, I don't believe there's a red hook yet. I'm not sure. That's a Dean and Fresh Monkey thing that they have to figure out. But I know that they were planning on it.
I know it was one of the things that was out there. I love that concept. I love the concept of people getting action figures for their own characters. It's fantastic.
I mean, it was. I've known Bill for going on 10 years, maybe, and it was just something that we've been talking about for a while. He loves Stray. I've done some work with him on his other figures and stuff. So yeah, it's hard to say, it's hard to say why. And I know that he loves the Red Hook as well. He also had planned to do a Midnight Tiger one. So it's funny. I don't know that Stray is licensed to Fresh Monkey Fiction in any kind of realistic way, but for all intents and purposes, they are my toy manufacturer.
Cool. Good. So now this page, and so now the backups are going to be in the individual 7 issues. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. So and they'll probably get collected at a later date for trade paperback.
And are they each of the backups are kind of standalone, or they
are together? They all are basically an introduction to a world where Stray exists or Rodney exists in a way that's not real or not our normal version.
Oh, awesome!
There it is. See, he's real.
Awesome. Yeah, we have to. I have to figure out. I ordered one, but I really wanted to. So
I'll send you the link.
Thank you.
But yeah, so
we'll put it up.
In this respect, I wanted to step away from it, and I gave Dan Faust pretty much full reign as to what he wanted to like. I knew what the worlds would be, and I knew, how they worked within the concept of Stray, like in terms of how they reflected what we know about Stray already. But what I didn't know were character names, how they took on the Stray mantle in this world. So, for example, the gentleman and the lady to the left of the panel, that is Pandora is a new character that you'll meet only in these backups. And that is Wild Bill Gallagher, who is actually Quarrel from Stray, one of his best friends.
Oh, okay.
And that is Rodney in jail right there. He is the wild dog of Kappa Flats. So if you scroll down a little bit, one of the coolest things that Matt did, I was trying to figure out. We were both trying to figure out what his costume would look like, what his outfit would look like, and I always default to Man with No Name, and he's like, yeah, okay, but can we, put dog, prints anywhere? It's like, we want to make it subtle, but we want to make it like really kind of obvious. So the bones in the hat.
So we got bones. The bones
and
over
you
here.
can see the stray paw print kind of like seared on his head. So like one of the things I like working, one of the things I like working with artists is we never truly all have the answers when we start out. So we like bouncing off of each other, especially if somebody you trust. And I've known Matt for a good many years as well. But when it's somebody you trust, like a Dean Haspiel, like a Chris Cross, like Sean Isaacs, and you can throw them an idea. They sometimes get it immediately, but then like when you're working with someone new who maybe doesn't have all the pages under their belt that like a Dean or a Chris Cross have, they're so eager and willing to take direction. And I tell everybody, you're the artist. I trust you implicitly. Just, go with your gut. So a lot of the time, like a lot of it, Matt was, it was all Matt, and we just, came to some concessions or some agreements, and, we just found a way to make it work.
That's awesome. So, and then now we're back to the to the cover. The cover. This is the variant. If for anybody who's coming in late, this is the variant. One of the variants to issue 1 by Scott McDaniel, doing Scott McDaniel for the cover of Stray Requiem issue 1. Yep. I gotta say, I'm excited. What would you expect that someone who is a fan of Stray and someone who isn't a fan of Stray would expect from this first issue of the volume 3? Like, is there a difference? Do you think that each of those people should expect the same, or will there be something?
Well, the thing that they both can expect that is going to be similar to like their mutual experiences is that the status quo changes pretty quick in this first issue. So they're all going to be on the same page.
Good.
When you start to really get into the character and you start to really want to know the history of it, there's plenty of opportunities within the actual issue where we go through and we explain this character or that character, or this the reason that set up with Stray and Warhorse is a lot of catching up and expository dialogue where they go back and forth about different things that have happened. Again, the seeding, they go back and forth about what's happened in previous volumes. Excuse me. So it's kind of easy to catch up, and then once you're caught up, I say around issue 4. Issue 3 ends in a huge cliffhanger, and issue 4 just takes it and runs with it. There's a lot. Oh boy, let's really talk.
Hang on. We're gonna get to that in a minute.
Okay.
I was trying to bring it in and got issue 4.
Oh no. Again, this is issue 4 out of 7.
Sure.
8. It's 8 technically, but 8 is kind of a standalone issue as it is. The status quo changes really quick, and we give everyone ample opportunity to catch up. Like, even if you've read Stray, you can catch up pretty quickly because we haven't had a new issue in, I want to say 2.5 years. So it's important to kind of keep it fresh in everyone's minds. So
and if
I'm constantly doing that.
If there's anybody who who's interested, there are, if your local comic shop doesn't have it, they're all available on Comixology, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
You can go do a Stray catch up on Comixology real quick. And I recommend it if anybody hasn't.
And so there's a fully digital tier, a couple of them, I think, in the Kickstarter too. So
there is. All right, so let's change this out to this.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, can we make this bigger? Do this. There we go. What is this? What is this?
That's the best question you could ask. This is kind of the culmination of, I don't know. First of all, it's a George Perez homage to Crisis on Infinite Earths #1.
Of course.
However, there's one difference, and if anyone can catch it, feel free to tell me, because it's a huge difference. But
because this guy looks like a villain.
Which one?
This far right.
Oh, but he's not. He is the titular Prometheus. He is the. I have this theory about superheroes and superpowers and how they relate to Greek mythology, and that's Prometheus. So Prometheus is the one that stole the fire from the gods, and that fire is, in my mind, what created the first superhuman. So as you can see, the fire is kind of spreading throughout the entire thing, and that's really what we're trying to kind of narrow down, is where did the fire come from? Why is the fire such a motif? And there's my boy. But yeah, this is kind of like, I sat here one day at my computer and I thought, all right, I know what the Stray Golden Guard concept would be, like what they would be if they crossed over. What would it be if I drew in Gemini, which is another one of my IPs that I created with Lee Gaston? And it's sort of kind of taking its own life. Excuse me. There goes this
right here.
Yeah,
this gets me. I love this. I love
Mitch Ballard is our secret weapon. Every independent comic book superhero creator knows Mitch Ballard, and he's all of our secret weapon. But the thing is, he didn't make the cut for this issue in terms of the cover, but he will be in the story. The Purple Heart also appears in this crossover. It's basically all of my individually created or individually co-created concepts in one book, fighting what might be the thing that destroys the entire multiverse, or the Strayverse in this respect. And so this is very important. And I stress this to anyone watching. The reason why you want to eventually get this book, and the reason why it's important to back the Kickstarter now, is those backups, as you can see by the Wild Bill at the bottom, those backups play a big role into this entire introduction of this concept of the strays of many universes. And like, you can see the Dobermans on there.
I saw.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot going on in this that you're not going to want to miss out on.
This is I will continue to tell people and promote this, because I want this. So we need to keep Stray going, because I want this.
Yeah, and this is going to be the most overwhelming story. I'm still working on it, where it's in a very good way. It's something that I'm not comfortable with writing, because I'm very comfortable with writing street level, very realistic, very relatable characters, and that is cosmic. and I'm not very comfortable with cosmic. And one of the things that I look to as inspiration is not so much Crisis, because I love Crisis. It's not really it. But the thing that I look at for inspiration is the Ostrander and John Byrne miniseries Legends and Cosmic Odyssey. Cosmic Odyssey, I feel, is the most down to earth cosmic story that I've ever read. Even though it has the new gods, even though it has a lot of, I think all of it except for one section takes place in space. The stuff with Batman and Forager in Gotham City is the only part that takes place on Earth. So, but somehow or other, it still feels. I mean, credit to Jim Starlin, obviously.
Right.
He knows how to do that stuff, but it never felt like, say, Infinity War or Infinity Gauntlet or anything, where you had all these major, like, and once the superheroes are dead, you have all these major entities like Eternity, Ego, and that's when it kind of like, for me, I kind of get lost in it. But with Cosmic Odyssey, it's all, emotion. It's all, and everybody can relate to emotion. It's all
Sure.
A part of these characters, and the at the time 50 plus years that they had been around, and how they have evolved in those 50 years, to be like there's no way the Alan Scott of 1942 is anywhere near the John Stewart of 1985 or 86,
Right.
whatever.
Sure.
But at the same time, that's the point, like they're not supposed to be the same characters. They're not supposed to, we can't expect characters to not evolve when we evolve daily, so that right in and of itself is just a very, like, that story is so, like, I just reread it not too long ago. It's so fresh. It's so like, it's so relevant.
I think I just finished reacquiring it. I think this summer, I think when I was at Terrificon, there was a guy who had a dollar table, and the last issue that I needed was in this dollar box. So I'm trying to give the guy $1, but he's like too busy trying to tell some other guy that, I got this over here and I got this over here, and that guy's not buying that $10 book that you're trying to sell him. I just want this $1. So I ended up just leaving the dollar on the table, and it is on my to read again, Papa. I want to do something kind of fun, because I figured you're the person to do it. So how about this?
Okay.
How much is this not the greatest 12 covers ever to grace a single series?
That one right there, like number 5,
this one. Do you know how much time I spent staring at this?
Same.
As a kid, I would look there, right there. There's where it splits. And look, this one matches over here, and this one goes over there. I stared at this cover, just like I'd been done reading it forever, and just I would pick it up and just stare at it, like this. The way that this happens, where the John Stewart and Alan Scott happens down here, and where the are you seeing it? I don't know if you see this. Can you see my mouse at all?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this happens, and then the two Oliver Queens happening, and this and this with switching between the Silver Age Qatar Hall and the Golden Age, Yellow Hat
without the
Carter
wings,
Hall.
yeah.
Just fantastic. And then this image, and then and again, staring at all the people in the background and how they reacted.
I'm gonna let you in on a little secret.
Yeah,
that will eventually be a Stray cover done by Jamal Igle.
What?
That will eventually be a Stray cover done by Jamal Igle, like an homage.
That is amazing. That is amazing to me, but it sounds terrifying.
He said he's willing. So
I believe it's going to be. I believe it's going to be gorgeous. I just don't.
Yeah,
I don't like the content. Is what I'm trying to say.
I feel
somebody's
like
dying. It's not good.
Oh, that part. Well, people die, Bob.
I understand. And then this one, this is great because there's almost this is almost like there's a Carmine feel to this cover that was not necessarily George.
Yeah, there's a weird thing about that cover in that the shadows play a bigger part in this cover than they do in and there's a cover with the shadow beings.
Yeah.
But the shadows play a bigger part in this cover than they do anywhere else in the series. Even like just the darkness of it is just so. The summer before this came out, I believe it was the last Flash story. I'm pretty sure Carmine drew it, and it was Flash on trial. And I remember buying it at the Jersey Shore that summer, just being like, "What happens to the Flash now? Where's the Flash going?" And then this stinking miniseries comes out and ruins my life in all the best ways. But it's so funny, like, you know, when Batman is fighting the Joker, I think in issue 1, maybe issue 2,
right,
and the Flash kind of peeks in and out. You know how many years it was until I realized that was what was going on in the background of this issue? You know,
right.
like when he was looking through. Like,
yeah. Well, it happened though. I'm pretty certain that they flashed it in one of the pre-crossovers.
I think you're right. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he did that in like a Batman and the Outsiders or something like that. Something where Marv had easy access to it.
Yeah.
But again, this cover, you know, especially with what happens in it, you know, is just perfect, the perfect homage. And then he gets to play with villains, which is gorgeous.
Issue 6. Keep going. I hope you caught what I'm saying.
Yeah, I got you. So then, you know, then there's this concept of just, again, where's everybody counting the characters? And then I love this cover in that it's like the penultimate cover. We've been waiting all this time. We see, and it's a comic page for a cover, which has hardly ever done.
Well, you know what the funny thing about that cover is that it's kind of, when you look at the other covers that came before it, it's kind of anticlimactic, which is funny because it's the penultimate issue. But it's so weird because it tells you everything that's going to happen or is happening in this issue, but it's still, you know, because everything that happened in the prior issue was the world was restarted. So the black hole there, like you don't even know what that is until you actually start reading it. Like the Robin and Huntress at the bottom is probably the thing that I get drawn to the most because of their,
gives me, and you know, that just kills me
because of their situation in the story. Like that, like I always my eye gets just drawn right there.
Yep.
More so than even Earth 1.
Absolutely.
Superman.
Absolutely. Even, you know, you're looking at what, you know, the Golden Age Wonder Woman talking to the rest of what's going on in Paradise on Themyscira. These guys, you know, we're seeing stuff and all this stuff. And this in the book, this is a fantastic scene of what goes on here. But you're right. Everything gets drawn down here, especially because of the expressions on their faces. And let's see, I don't know if I can't.
Being who we are, you know, obviously I'm drawn to anything that has Batman and Robin on it, you know, so, and there's 2 Robins in that panel. So of course I was going to look there, but I've always loved Wally, and the setup to the whole thing with the treadmill and, you know, trying to go to Earth 2, the setup where Wally's like, I haven't seen Barry in months, you know, or however long it was. It so captivates you. God, Marv Wolfman can write it. Damn,
I know. And then here's the final, which is again.
Did you back the Indieversity?
I did.
Kickstarter. Then you know that this is one of the homage covers. That was my idea.
Yep. Yes, I did. And that's fantastic.
Stray, if you look closely, Stray is in the Robin of Earth 2 position, hanging off the fist.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. I was going to go back to something we were talking about.
probably going to start reading this tonight again.
I know, isn't it? It's oh, that's what I did when I spoke the first time I met Marv. We were talking. I was talking with someone about something related to whatever DC was doing at the time. This is 2-3 years ago now, and he kind of popped his head in the conversation. We were at dinner, and he kind of like, "What's that?" And we're like, "Oh, it's the latest reboot thing that DC is doing." And he's like, "Oh, are they still doing that? I'm sorry."
It's his fault.
What's that?
I guess it's his fault now.
He takes responsibility for the constant reboots. So, but yeah, I figured that would be fun to do with you, especially considering his cover.
It's funny. I really, really, really wanted to get. My goal is to get like different Nightwing artists to do Stray covers. Issue 2 is going to have a cover by Mike Lilly.
Okay.
Jamal was a Nightwing artist, and so
Yep.
he's going to be doing, like I said, the Crisis 7. So, to me, like as a collector and as a fan of comics, like it's so gratifying when people see the work that I've been putting into my own creator-owned book, and they get to see, and they see that I like my influences are all on my sleeve, but they get to, as fans, like they get to kind of fanboy out when they see something like the McDaniel cover or Matt Major. I'm sorry, Matt Miner's a writer. Matt Major's an artist.
Yes,
I've been dying to get them on a book together for some reason. Major Minor, my goodness, that'd be perfect. But Matt Major, the cover that you see behind you, is Frank Quitely, Dick Grayson Batman, and Damian Robin homage. Right. So again, and that's going to be issue 2's variant as well. So it's it's just I'm kind of just leaning in. And maybe it's a little bit of pandering, where, you have to acknowledge that DC has 80 years of history of selling anything with Batman and Dick Grayson. So I've only had 9 at this point, 8, 9. So I'm playing catch up. So I'm going to play catch up dirty, I guess.
So I'm just I think Marv posted something sometime last year. It's been a while now. I think somebody did the math, and I think it's only another couple of years, maybe 3 or 4 more years, and Dick Grayson will have been Nightwing longer than he was Robin.
Yeah. I don't know where I read that, but I read that as well.
He posted it. Somebody done the math. I'm going to bring this back in so we can go back to talk about. Let's finish up talking about Stray and this volume, because so we had talked about there's the digital, the easy clearance digital. Get this book. Keep it going so we can get more of it. You get your physical copies. You got your variant covers, but then we get into some other things, right? With special variant covers, and there's the entire Stray digital library. That's what this one is, the Pack Monday clearance level, right? Yeah. Which is fantastic. There's the Kickstarter exclusive T-shirt. Now, where did the T-shirt come from? That's this cover, right? This
that's the We Arts cover by Hoi Din. It's just without the yellow. Like I was trying to figure out a way to make it with the yellow, but I think it looks better against the black on a T-shirt.
Yeah, no, I like it. That's fantastic. There's great options. That's going to be here.
If you look at again, trying to make it collectible for people. If you look at the last tier, it's a gold foil version variant. So it's going to be, all the yellow will be, or the gold will be a foil. And
that's right. That's for all those variant collectors, which I'm not one of, but I support their right to go crazy for variants.
The truth of the matter is, I'm just trying to, there's a part of it that's, trying to play the game the way the game is played,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I'm not a speculator. I don't know how that industry works, but I kind of want to, play around with it.
And I want to get to these. So
Hmm.
we need to get this moving because I have a feeling these things are going to be pretty cool. Strays rated
Yeah.
teen for language. And is there anything you want to tease there? We
As
want to
far as
just
the
keep everything
T,
quiet as far as
no, I'm
our
gonna keep
stretch
those.
goals.
The stretch goals, like the 100 backers is the one that we're closest to. I think we're 11 away,
All
so that
right,
one might be announced as early as this week.
that'd be great.
I can tell you it's not as um, big as a stretch for most people, but I feel like it's something that is very cool, and I kind of want to play with this kind of formatting and stuff.
Well, we're
Um,
close. Yeah, we are still 11 away.
yeah.
All right, great.
So I feel like we
I
can get that this week.
Sounds good. Um, Sorry, I have something here, and I think that's it. I think that's what I wanted to get through for tonight.
Hmm.
I want to remind everyone um, that they can. The in here is there's the Kickstarter link. It's whatever this is, but it's there if you want to grab it and you can write it down. This will be rebroadcast and be available on. You can watch it through YouTube and at any time because it'll be available on our YouTube channel for to be able to be watched. And it will be also available on Facebook if you're watching there. And thanks, Vito. I
Are you
super
kidding
super
me?
appreciate you doing this.
I love talking to you. It's easy to talk to you because like we're basically the same guy. Never
Yeah,
mind
a little bit.
bald
I
and
mean,
beard.
because just looking.
Yeah, but I mean, like we both have the same kind of loves, and our collection is probably very similar in terms
Probably.
of like the books that we have or the books that we've read. So I mean, it's easy to talk to you. So I love talking, and honest to God, like I never set out when I created any comic book, but I never set out to make anyone a fan. Like I just wanted to write a story that was in my head and in my heart. So the fact that anybody, especially like guys like you, like anybody likes my dopey attempt at trying to do Nightwing and stuff, I appreciate it more than any words can ever actually say.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to read it. It's my pleasure to support it. And
My pleasure writing it too.
So thanks again, and we'll be in touch. And
Yeah,
hopefully we get this one funded. I have a lot of faith in it.
like
And
look at
then
that. You can get one of each. Like
that's awesome. And then when issue 2 comes around, we'll do this again. We'll find some more cool stuff to talk about.
oh, you wait. You just wait. You're
All
going to
right,
be
all
very
right.
upset. I'll give you the teaser. Ready?
I'm going to be
End
very
of issue
upset.
one. End of issue one.
Am I
It's
going to have
like
to
the
get in my
tear.
car and drive 4 hours to come to your door and start banging on your door?
You can. I'm just telling you. Get ready. Get the Kleenex ready. You will have at least one tear. Not just you. I mean, anybody that follows
Thanks.
Stray. You will have at least
Good.
one tear come out of your eye.
I will. I will look forward to it.
Oh, I can't
All right.
wait to
Thanks,
get
Vito.
to number two. You're welcome. Thank you.